not capable of wearing the headset on stage, so he's playing from our Howling Abyss setup, the B stage here at the LCS Arena. So he's still here, he's still in the building. He just cannot be on stage with the rest of the team right now because of the ear thing. So that's why if you guys are looking at the stage, looking at Inspired, you'll notice that the chair does seem a little more empty than it might normally be.
Yeah, a lot more.
I
was like, oh no, we got to.
That's a big presence to not have, but you know, he's still there in the comms. He's still able to communicate with the team and everything.
You saw him there with like one headphone on.
Yeah.
One headphone off with the ear infection. But let's get into the draft here.
We're in. We're ready. Locked and loaded. Let's go. Okay, so LYON going to be playing from the blue side as C9 selected first pick. LYON banning out the Karma, the Seraphine, and the Orianna. Over on the other side, it's Pantheon, Varus, and Azir taken out by C9 as they first pick the Yunara for Sven.
And throwing down the Yunara so early. I mean, they do ban out the Varus, but we'll see what Berserker wants to reply with. Aphelios is another common answer where you can really use your level 1, capabilities with Green Gun. To go offensive and keep the Yunara in check and scale very nicely as well. So we'll see what sort of Yunara answers, because only banning out the Varus here, and we already got that sign answered, Flowers.
Yeah,
Nico's been picked.
Nico, cosplayer vindicated, second pick of the entire day. You can't get much better results than that. So the Nico locked in for LYON. Now what do they want to go with here as that second pick? There's our sign. That's what we're talking about. And they'll lock in the Vi alongside the Nico. They're for Inspired.
Okay, so very, 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 very clear dive comp, Flowers. You cannot get more clear than drafting your support Nico and your jungler Vi to say we are going to dive and kill Yunara. So oftentimes, we talk about when it's like game 1 and you're just throwing down first pick Yunara or Zeri or any sort of hyper carry like that, you're going to get hit with a bunch of point and click and a bunch of dive.
Yep.
So your counters aren't always just in lane, and they're going to be looking to kill Sven. But Vulcan will be looking to keep him safe with the Lulu here, and we'll see if Cloud9 can do that. APA Ziggs also on the menu.
Normally one that's always banned away from APA. The APA signature pick. They might just want to go ahead and wait on that one. Instead, going to lock in their own jungler. They want to make sure that they get something pretty high on the tier list to answer the Vi before the second half of the bans come in.
And one of the things is, especially with Xin into Vi, you have big advantage in combat pretty early on versus Vi, pre-6. Xin definitely has the advantage, and so you can force a lot of stuff. And jungle was a really big part of the matchup last time around in finals, where Inspired had a significant advantage over Blabber in several of the games, and especially the later games in the series, he was invading Blabber pretty significantly. But when Blabber's on Xin and you're on Vi, the Vi does need to farm, have a lot more focus on that early. So we'll see the capabilities this time around. Caitlyn paired with the Nico Flowers, though.
That's scary.
The extra range here is going to do a lot early on, so going to have that pushing bottom lane.
This is also going to be pretty scary, I feel like, for C9 to try to play around neutral objectives into this combination, right? Like Nico sneaking up through a brush. If you don't have total vision control over the area, the Pop Blossom can just completely ruin the fight before it even starts. Caitlyn, if she's there first, is going to set up the trap lines to just give you this natural advantage based on the terrain. I feel like this lane can be very, very scary very, very quickly down here in the bottom lane for LYON. But since both teams have drafted their AD carries, supports, and junglers, it means the name of the game is solo laners. Here in the second half of the draft, LYON is going to go ahead and ban out the Cassiopeia first, while C9 takes the Ahri off the table.
And honestly, Cloud9 are going to need, Thanatos on an engaged kind of tank-style champion up there. Yes, APA can also play some engaged mid-lane champions. He is good at that, but with the Nico being taken away, like that's one of the primary ones. He could still go a Galio lane in mid lane if they really wanted to, but otherwise, if it's a more traditional AP carry in mid lane, then you're looking at like Thanatos, Scion, or something like that, where you can have a front line for the Yunara to work around, and some engage on your side as well. Otherwise, you just get hit with Caitlyn in the back here with all the extra range. So we'll take a look. They are taking out some of the mid lane engage options away. I like the Annie ban from LYON because of the Ahri ban as well from Cloud9. That matchup was a contested one last time around where APA actually got solo killed on the Annie by Saint's Ahri, which was not expected from the matchup, and then Saint went on to be a huge driving force in that game. But we'll take a look here. In addition to the Nico and the Vi engage, adding a Ryze on top of that is always really nice because you have multiple ways that Ryze can play the game. You can split push to apply pressure, and then you're facing fairly short range champions already, so you can come and you can Realm Warp to the fight and have a huge presence there. Or you can play those really fun Realm Warps where you get Nico popping the ultimate.
Oh yeah,
and then you Realm Warp the Nico into the enemy team for big engage that way.
Okay, so we've got the Ryze locked in for LYON. Makes the Cassiopeia ban make all the much more sense. Over on the other side, pretty quick response from C9, going double AP in their solo lanes. You've already got a powerful AD jungler in the Xin Zhao, so putting Rumble and Anivia in your solos is going to feel really good. It
is going to mean that C9 are basically all reactive here, though. They don't have engage other than Xin just running in and getting a Lulu ult on top of his head. So
Anivia has that slow as molasses Q that she can throw at you and stun you.
So they're Cloud9, they need to get advantages in their lanes so that they can get to objectives first, and then they can, you know, get the advantage there by having LYON have to come to them. But they don't get a lot of choice as far as when to force things, and so it's going to be a lot of reacting. And trying to get advantages from lane to translate into early positions added objectives. If you get there to the objective really early, then you're going to have a huge advantage. Same thing here for LYON. They've got Caitlyn lay down the traps, and LYON have mega hard engage, as we said, even just from the first 2 picks. They have,
and then they put Ornn on top of it. That's crazy. So I'm seeing a lot more go on the LYON squad, and I feel like I want to see these guys just go, being that like coordinated style. Even if he's in another room, I hope Inspired is on the shot calling, coordinating everything.
Yep. I will say, with these lanes for Cloud9, they should have both winning solo lanes here. Both Rumble should have a big advantage into Ornn, and then Anivia is a really good counter pick into Ryze. And so they should have some areas to work with, especially with a Xin Zhao early on. So we'll take a look at what Blabber wants to get to work, especially on the top quadrant of the map.
All right, let's do it. Hop into our first best of 3 of the 2026 Spring Split. You can see C9 already off to the most modest of leads, as APA has a 10 gold lead over Saint, thanks to clearing out a little bit of that vision there. Thanatos on the Rumble. You can see both of our top laners do have teleports as expected, so no extra shenanigans with different types of combat summoner spells here. Everything pretty par for the course. Electrocute for APA's Anivia for the extra burst and trading potential. Bottom lane, everything also pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be. No summoner spell books on either one of our supports, so there won't be any unexpected teleports or anything similar catching anyone off guard.
Yeah, so here we go. The early lane phase for the pushing Caitlyn and Nico, and trying to push as slowly as possibly here, build up a large slow push on the wave, and then finally get to crash and harass at the same time. Try and kind of milk it there, and with the junglers going opposite, that is going to mean Blabber pathing away from Sven and Vulcan, so they're going to have to deal with the pain all by themselves. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we saw APA going in and using his auto to break the bone plating of Saint to try and prep for the next trade there. Pretty good spacing on the Q as well.
Okay, tri-lane view, just kind of showing everything. No critical mass hit in any one of the lanes so far, as it is LYON with the push in pretty much all 3 of them here very early on. You already touched on it a little bit, but we do have junglers pathing towards opposite sides of the rift. Obviously, C9 has to be careful about this wave crashing into the bottom lane. They don't want to find themselves at the mercy of Inspired's pressure, but we obviously know, since we have perfect vision, that he's still all the way back over at his red, as all 3 waves are kind of going to get crashed into the turret around about the same time.
Yeah, APA getting to work on Saint here, though, trying to work through these potions. again, you know, you pop the bone plating with an auto or something early, and then he goes for his little electrocute trades, and he has been getting some good value. Doesn't quite get that Q though. And it's about time for junglers to get involved, fully completing their full clears. Inspired has easy access to bottom scuttle, so it should just be traded with the top one there for Blabber.
Yeah.
But nobody really prepped for any dives or anything. You know, Sven and Vulcan, they were very respectful while they're getting pushed in. Nobody takes any extra damage, so they're not really diveable down there. And we'll just go into pretty smooth second clears.
Do you feel like we're going to get any early action, or is this more of probably just waiting till level 6s and seeing what we get at a bigger skirmish around like a dragon or something?
I mean, with nobody blowing any summoner spells early, I would say we probably won't.
Okay.
The one possible area would be for me around mid lane, because you do have a pretty good setup there. You know, Xin has very good combat effectiveness early, and if they try and do something on Saint, but actually Saint using his ghost, he still has, you know, phase rush, and he has his flash though, so probably not too big of a deal. It's just going to be repeat second clears, and again, it is going to be Inspired clearing towards bottom, whereas Blabber here will be clearing back up towards the Ornn, towards that top lane. So if there actually is an opportunity with the Ornn getting whittled down, and maybe they'll get to work. But this is Cloud9's record versus the entirety of the LCS, and then what happened at America's Cup, because you mentioned it a lot in the intro, Flowers, but C9, they spent the majority of our year just dominating everybody they
were on
played
top
until it got to finals, and everything came crashing down, and then it continued crashing down in America's Cup. So everyone is very curious to see how they bounce back. Dokla goes for the flash and rises here.
Yeah, Thanatos with the flash away, tries to escape, but Saint has already arrived. Thanatos knows the only thing he could possibly try to do is make this one a 1-for-1. Dokla continues trying to walk away from it. There's your Rune Prison. A little bit more damage from the Overload should seal the deal, and first blood goes over to LYON.
Very nice gank. That's even pre-Realm Warp here, only level 5. Saint making the roam up to the top side, and it counts for first blood. That is huge, Flowers. This Rise is so pivotal in their comp, because not only is he big damage, you know, once you get the Actualizer and stuff later on, but huge split push threat as well will be available. So very big to get a first blood cashed in here for Saint.
Ooh, look at the damage on Sven as he tries to flash away to escape Berserker. Meanwhile, back over in the mid lane, APA versus Saint. Health bar's getting low. APA, though, might just be cooked. Inspired goes forward, but the flash back over the wall from APA keeps him safe.
Yeah, he does not want to lose his egg early on, especially over there. Lots of flashes and summoner spells being blown. Bottom is vulnerable now. Saint, though.
Whoa! Saint overplays his hand a little bit too confident there. And APA with the burst damage from the electrocute takes him out.
And the last little bit of his mana, too. He had down to like 5 mana there.
Yeah, calculated.
Barely had enough for the combo. He gets it off, and there you go. Just like that, he fights it back. Flowers, that is crazy. After just getting ganked and losing his flash, able to get the solo onto Saint, who also... Saint just does not use his own flash.
Yeah, and honestly,
thought he could win.
That's great for APA, considering Saint was the one who benefited from the first blood roam up top. He's the one who got the kill gold there. Now that little advantage he might have had is no longer there, as APA hits him with the classic XD. I like how he makes sure that he still capitalizes both the X and the D in this. But he's back to his old ways. APA going to be happy with that one. But the biggest difference so far, Kobe, in this game, hold on, we'll get back to it in just a second. Let's take one more look at how this 1v1 went down.
So this was the earlier gank where Inspired is going to get APA's flash. So we're seeing that again. But then really is about to follow up trade. And APA is also very low on mana. So it's probably why Saint stays in there, because APA is so low. Yeah, that got down to barely any. That was probably single digits mana to be able to cast that E. Saint kind of smiling.
I like the smile.
He's like, ah.
He knows. He's like, come on, man. You really had exactly enough mana. But C9 are going to take their opportunity now to go for the Drake. As you can see, Isles and Berserker not really in a spot to be able to contest the control over this bottom side river. that C9 has with their jungler. Biggest individual gold lead that I was going to talk about before we got the replay is Berserker over Sven. Whenever you draft Caitlyn, you want to see control over the laning matchup like this. The character's range, the bullying power that she has in the lane. Really got to make sure that you're getting ahead nice and early so you can have that tempo, take the turret as quick as you can, rotate her over into the mid lane, continue moving around the map afterwards, as we do have 20 seconds left on the clock until the Void Grub spawns. So that first Drake being taken by C9 was taken early enough that it's not like it even really comes at an opportunity cost.
Yeah, Berserker is dominating. Berserker is going to be a problem for sure. This Caitlyn, so much flat AD too with the early buys here for him. So the Peacemaker really packs a punch. At this sort of time, and Sven, the wave is in a bad spot for him too. So you actually have Nico roaming time at the moment, and Sven and Vulcan are like, all right, we gotta get this cannon, we gotta get it pushed in, so we can at least salvage something here from the situation. But Berserker has Isles coming back, and they at least do get the wave to crash there for Cloud9, and aren't going to be kind of held in any more denial for now, because it's going to get the bounce back, but still just sitting on their coal and pieces there. It's going to be a little bit painful.
All right, checking in across the board, you can see Thanatos has completed Swifty Boots as his first item here on the Rumble. Over on the other side, Dokla still having the ingredients, the components for the Kaenic Rookern, and it's the every tank into Rumble matchup is before Kaenic Rookern and after Kaenic Rookern. Once you get this item up, it really just kind of alleviates all of that pressure that the Rumble would normally have on you during those short trades. You can see, Thanatos still does have a very marginal gold lead over Dokla, but if you're the Ornn in this matchup, you're totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even when you get to your Spectre's Cowl, this thing is so just OP. Of course, it's
really
Rumble.
good.
Pops so much regen, got your good magic resist, a very, very good component there, and Dokla has been able to get a refillable potion on top of it, so he has tons of sustain. And your Ornn just farming away. This is why the Ornn is such a common pick into the Rumble.
Yep.
Is not because you're supposed to get solo kills or anything versus him, but you are going to be a huge tank for the team later on, and you have a very good time kind of weathering the storm. And he was even able to set up the first blood for Saint with his flash for the brittle proc. So Dokla has been doing his job really admirably, very nicely on top side, and we'll see once he gets to join and show off with his Ornn ultis. He puts his full power on display, but I think every good thing going pretty well for LYON, aside from the solo kill where APA was able to take down Saint.
And I mean, going back to what we were talking about towards the end of the draft, for a game that's honestly been pretty quiet for these first 10 minutes, I feel way more comfortable if I'm LYON, if the game is on very even footing, just because their team fight mechanisms, their engage buttons, are so much more effective than Cloud9's. I don't feel like Cloud9 is in this spot where they can just say, yeah, it doesn't matter that we don't have engage.
Yeah, and again, it is going to come back to, can Cloud9 kind of get good positioning early at objectives? And currently, since they're losing a lot of territory on bottom side, especially with the tower getting whittled down, I think it might be difficult. If they can, they do have a lot of defensive tools. Remember, they're going to be really reactive.
Yeah.
A good Anivia wall, Xin ultimate and Lulu ultimate here. Maybe they can still create positive fights for themselves. It just has to be kind of in response to LYON's moves, which is usually not where you want to be, because Inspired is very good at leading this team, and they have some really decisive tools at their disposal.
And here we go, the engage coming out onto Blabber. Inspired leads the charge, Saint right behind him. They're trying to burst down the Zinja, but it's Inspired who's down to 100 HP now, reinforced by the shield, and he stays alive. APA wants to try to finish off the kill, but he doesn't quite have enough damage here just yet. Thanatos alive, but APA's egg gets scrambled. A double kill for Inspired as the Vi still lives, and Dokla chases after Sven. A little bit more damage from Saint is all they need, and LYON just slaughtered him.
Okay, I know Inspired is the GOAT, but Isles is actually what saves the day here. Isles comes in on the Nico. That was clean. Flash with the ulti. He gets 3 of them, and he makes sure that they win the early kill. And the early kill is so important. Look at Blabber right now. Isles gets all 3 of them, and it allows Inspired enough time to turn it right back around, heal back up. He flashes away and gets APA's flash, who had tunnel visioned on trying to kill the Vi here, goes into egg form, and Dokla had been creating space on the other side of the fight. That's it, Flowers. LYON wrap it up at the Dragon fight. Very decisive play. They Vi ultimate in. They win the skirmish. Good move up there from Isles through the river. And we kind of talked about this in finals as well. Hold on, as Dokla's got to create some more space for himself and get out of there.
That's all right. He's got Koenig Rooker, and he's pretty tanky here. Thanatos does hit the first Electro Harpoon. No, hits the second. Not quite enough damage, though, and Dokla walks away.
All good. Performing his duties admirably, as we said. Something we did kind of talk about in finals was some of the really good games that Isles actually had. His Poppy game was really, really good. And Dokla's back in there. He got his shield.
Yeah, Dokla sticking around for now. It's APA taking the turret aggro, and Dokla nearly gets the outplay, but close isn't good enough. He almost got them both, but C9 picks up their kill.
Dude, I saw the vision, though.
I could see what he was going for.
I saw the vision. Dokla wanted to do more than just take damage and farm CS, Flowers. The weak side king trying to get a little frisky with it. He does not get a kill, but he does make him sweat.
But man, it would have been cool.
Yeah, he made him sweat. Anyways, because APA has tower aggro, he flashes to get the brittle proc and push him back, but he needed another tower shot. APA was able to walk out before the last one, and so he goes down. Yeah, he made him seat check a little bit.
Yeah, I got to sit up straight after that one. Make sure that you're really locked in. But it is still a nearly 3,000 gold lead for LYON, Kobe.
Yeah.
Like, they're, after that fight in the bottom side river, they are just feeling so comfortable. It was 500 gold before that, and then just instant 2,000 spike after taking that victory. And here's Berserker. He's got his Hex Optics already completed, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Once Caitlyn takes the turret in her lane, she becomes the wrecking crew. She just moves around the rift, continues to put pressure on all these objectives, and LYON are just forcing their way down mid lane. This tier 1 turret is not long for the world.
Yeah, about that plan of trying to get Cloud9 ahead early so he get to objectives early and force LYON into bad spots, I don't think that's on the menu.
Nope, Inspired goes in after APA, diving towards the Anivia. Does not have backup next to him here just yet, but he will force the C9 mid laner away. Blabber and Vulcan both in the area means LYON do not want to overcommit on trying to secure this kill against APA, so the Anivia lives to see another day.
Yeah, he's been getting into a few dangerous scenarios while he has no egg, but no death from it just quite yet. And it gets really dangerous for Zven to even get farm anymore because the mid tower is also down, very vulnerable. So you have to have people on both sides to be able to make this happen. But off their reset timer with the teleport used from APA, they are going to try and force down this Rift Herald. And Dokla's still bottom with no teleport, so I don't think LYON are going to have any illusion that they could contest. Just keep Dokla Split pushing down there while they wait for the last little bit of his teleport cooldown and get the wave in the bottom side. Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 did get the Rift Herald, but minions are dying to the tower on bottom side. Dokla should be able to get at least a turret plate. You know, maybe 1.5 down there.
And I feel like when you look at the scoreboard, there's one point of power for C9, and that is Thanatos. They have to play around this Rumble. They need to get good value out of the equalizers if they want to have a chance at taking a fight.
Problem is, it's really hard to do that because, as we said, they are very light on CC. So, like,
how do you stay on the carpet?
Yeah, who's going to keep people on the Rumble ulti? Is it like
Anivia wall?
Blabber prepping his Q and then going for the knock up into Anivia, you know, wall and Q as well. You know, it's obviously it gets a little difficult. It's not going to be super easy for Thanatos to have very, very high value here and keep people in his cooker. But we'll see.
Cooker. Gotta let him cook. And reminder, we still have tickets available for April 5th. That is tomorrow on Sunday. So if you want to come out and check out the LCS live in person, we'd love to have you here. As it looks like we are setting up some Caitlyn traps, Mr. Kobe. LYON wants to control the top side of the river here with Berserker. They've already taken 2 of the tier 1 turrets. Why not make it a full set?
Yeah, control they shall have then, Flowers.
I believe they will.
Full top side controlled there and walled off. Bottom side, though, weak side again. Big dope.
Here we go.
You know know what's up.
The name of the game is try to kill this Ornn. They go right on in. Dokla busts the Anivia wall, wants to get the R2 out of the Ornn horn, does, but he does not have enough damage. And again, it's one more tower shot that would have made the difference in getting the kill. But C9 still accomplishes their dive. They're going to summon up the Rift Herald to take the turret after, but at the same time, Saint is taking the tier 1 turret on the top side.
So the last one.
Huh? That looked a little bit strange. Okay, APA fighting back towards Inspired. Has the TP coming in from Thanatos, ready to reinforce the C9 mid laner. But Isles is also nearby to make sure that nothing bad happens to Inspired. So we will have the tier 1 turret trade across the bottom and top lanes.
Yeah, I was going to say like the last attempt there from Dokla on the previous like 2v1 on top side. I saw the vision. I was like, oh, I'm down with that one. But this one, because LYON were setting up their top side play so far in advance, you had ample time to kind of just abandon the bottom side, weak side, and get out of there. And so that one, I don't know. You don't want to give too many kills back over to this Cloud9 comp. They are very low on CC, but they can be high on damage if they get the gold to do so. So have to be a little bit careful here with how many of those kills you're giving back over.
Well, we do have the Infinity Edge fully completed for Berserker's Caitlyn now. We've got Seraph's Embrace fully evolved on Saint's Rise. The Rod of Ages, 6 out of 10 of the stacks Inspired. Also on the 2-item power spike here for the Vi. LYON is at some serious points of strength, and they're trying to use that strength right now. Inspired with the ulti engage onto APA. Dokla ready to try to follow this one up. Inspired does not want to overcommit to this here just yet. Blabber is ready to join the fight. Vulcan's also moving up towards the area. But LYON are not going to do any more for now. Inspired is already backed away into the jungle. C9 again trying to find the kill onto Dokla. The equalizer forces the flash of the Ornn, but Dokla stays alive this time. Meanwhile, the entire time, Saint is split pushing down in the bottom lane. This is what we talked about with the Rise. Yes, you can have fun doing Realm Warps with Nico in team fights, or you can just park your butt in the side lane and grab yourself some free money.
Yeah, and he's at 2-item power spike, feeling pretty good. 6 stacks, 7 stacks now on the Rod of Ages.
I see what you did there.
It just happened to change over. It just happened to change over at the moment. Honestly, though, it's kind of rough for C9. That was 2 lanes pushing for LYON in exchange for just pressure on the Dokla side.
Mm-hmm.
So you just get the one. They did get their tower at the very least, but
they lost 2 of the tier 2 towers.
It's still pretty rough because you're in a situation where you're behind, and so you have to take the losing end of trades, very often. So you lose out on basically 2 for 1 in lanes and a dragon.
And you can see Vulcan and Blabber are trying to see if maybe they can catch Inspired unawares, make a unexpected gank towards the red buff, catch him there. But no, Inspired is ready. He had the vision in the brush. He secures his buff. He walks away, doesn't have to spend anything really to do so. So we've got a 2-to-1 dragon count so far. It is a Chem Soul, which is also going to lower the priority on dragons in general. So not really going to be one of those it's got to be Soul and it's got to be now type of games. We are 20 minutes in, so one big team fight, one way or the other, could spell a Baron. But we're still not quite there yet. And honestly, this gold has been frozen in time ever since that last, like the 3-for-0 fight in the bottom side river. It hasn't really moved.
Yeah, and that's better for Cloud9 to be able to keep the difference the same the longer the game goes on. Obviously, that's going to be better and better for them if they can keep it stable. But we'll see. There's some darkness in their jungle, so they don't know about the backside of the red pit here. And LYON trying to squeeze a little bit more out as they've got Dokla down on the bottom side. So Dokla now does have his teleport, and he's level 14, so going to be able to start handing out some upgrades, Ornn upgrades. And guess what? Berserker had better get his upgrade first. You want that Caitlyn with as much damage as possible. And so IE plus the
Hex Optics.
Wait a second.
Ooh, okay. Isles gets away from that one. C9 trying to maintain their control over the topside river here. A few minutes ago, I talked about how a lot of the LYON players were hitting their 2-item power spikes, and now C9's squad are catching up. Fiend Hunter bolts done for Sven on the Yunara. Full 10 stacks for APA on his Rod of Ages. We still need Blabber to complete his second item completely, but overall, C9 is at a point where it looks like they could try to find a fight.
And Dokla is just down there freezing. So again, it's just 3 lanes now for 2 lanes of farm basically in favor of LYON. They're always like +1 extra lane while this is happening. So Dokla down there, he's just, whoa. He's just farming, keeping the freeze and then waiting to use his teleport.
Ooh, inspired with the supercharged blast cone over the wall there. All 5 C9 players are in this topside river though. Dokla still making his way up here. You can see Saint also posturing to potentially join the fight. Lion's looking, but they got to make sure they don't go too soon after whatever it is they want to go for. And instead, they're just going to allow Berserker control over the wave, access to the minions, get that one shoved out. There's no dragon for another 2 minutes, and they're not strong enough to want to just hard force the Baron here. So ultimately, we kind of just, everybody stares daggers at each other and then walks away.
Yeah, so they're just going to keep on farming. Dokla there did just give the upgrade to Berserker, by the way. That was the animation. Upgraded IE now for Berserker. I mean, it's just going to get so difficult because how did Cloud9 like deal with the Caitlyn once the Caitlyn is, like fully operational in the back line here?
That's the neat part. You don't.
Yeah.
She's just going to, the extra range from the Hex Optics is going to make this character so difficult to deal with for a composition that really doesn't have a ton of range in it on the C9 side. APA with that Anivia, with the full 10 stacks on the Rod of Ages. You can see he's almost level 16, so at least they have a ton of wave clear. Like, Lion is going to need a Baron to actually break into the base.
Their siege is also really good too, so yeah, I don't know. It seems like Cloud9 are like they're just kind of forced to sit and wait for an opening or a mistake. And so the best thing you can do when that is the case is try and keep up really good vision control on your side of the map, because that allows you to jump on any openings that do present themselves. When you don't have the ability to force a lot yourself, you need to create those options out of vision control. And so they're trying to do that. Like, they have decent vision control of their side of the map, and Blabber kind of walking around, but Lion have not presented an opportunity to Cloud9 just yet. They're kind of trying to like bait and get Lion to overextend and over-index, but Ryze is walking from base now, so Lion's gonna wait.
Okay, Blabber loses about a third of his HP right there. Berserker has rapid fire cannon completed on the Caitlyn now as well. We got another stare down, Kobe.
Yeah, and the siege is just going to go to their advantage. Here we go.
All right, Lion decides they want to go in, and they immediately jump after Blabber. Defensive Xin Zhao ulti, keeping him alive for now. Wild Growth also reinforcing the Xin's health bar. It's a 1-for-1 trade here at the very start, but Isles again! Beautiful CC from the Lion support, and the rest of the team is ready to follow right behind. It's a 5-for-1 ace for Lion.
All right, Isles, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
Yup.
For this game.
Whatever. Number out of number. He got the whole thing, man.
2 out of 2 Nico ults.
Yeah,
have been really
that's a
good.
2 out of 2 for sure.
They have been really good. And honestly, Lion overall, they're continued their controlled gameplay.
Yeah, I think we have good items.
Looks good for us. Thank you so much.
Look good.
That was nasty.
I like that looks good.
Yeah. No, that definitely looked good.
Real good.
That looked real good to me.
Oh my God, Raidover just sitting back in his seat, cracking up at that one. And yeah, they really had him in a good spot. But I like that we got the little here, the little kind of comms listener from the Cloud9 side beforehand, where it's something that you had just touched on, where they're like, oh, at least we are now on our 2-item power spike, so we now have some items for ourselves. Maybe this is the best possible time that we can try and like catch back up.
Unfortunately, Isles said no.
Yeah.
He just immediately denied that premise. Now Lion does have the Baron, and this is what I was mentioning earlier, is yeah, you've got the Anivia wave clear, but this is kind of the way that you break through that. So I feel like Lion really is going to want to use this pressure. They're going to want to go pedal to the metal here, and you can see the pressure already mounting in both mid and bottom lanes. Remember, these tier 2 turrets died a long time ago, Kobe, so it's very easy for Lion to just make a beeline straight for the base, and sure enough, tier 3 turret is already broken down here in the bottom lane, and the inhibitor is about allowed to go with it. Realm Warp back over into mid to bring the minions with them. Now Blabber is rooted up, could be in some danger. Dokla wants to hit him with the Horn, and there it is. Berserker takes the kill on Blabber, as now Thanatos arrives, only to immediately find himself caught in the cupcake trap. Now he's got to try to run away. Ace in the hole is going to take him low. He'll be forced back into the fountain. Sync continuing to just play as aggressively as possible as C9 scrambles to try to clear waves. The problem is now you don't have Blabber. That's your only frontliner dead for the next 30 seconds, and the second inhibitor falls immediately.
Yep, Lion, they're not even stopping there. Berserker can keep up the siege.
All right, Lion looking to maybe take it all the way to the Nexus. APA is about to die to Berserker, but no, a beautiful stun from APA, keeping himself alive for now. Zven goes in and he at least secures the kill on the Lion AD carry. The shutdown for the Yunara is big. It's going to at least keep C9 alive a little bit longer.
All right, they just bought themselves some extra time in the game. How much more can they buy? Sven wants the chase down.
Now, Isles is seeing if maybe there's a punish to find here, and Sven, he steps too far forward, and Lion pounce. They take out the Yunara, and C9 now, they don't have enough damage left. They're gonna have to stop chasing.
Yeah, that was just born of desperation from Cloud9. They know the game has just been slipping away from them for a long time now, and so they really wanted to make this comeback moment a bigger comeback than it was. They didn't want to just stall.
I don't blame them.
They didn't want to just stall out to then lose again later, so they were hoping they could actually get some more meaningful gold. Unfortunately for them, they cannot. Too close to the wall there. Nice little turn from Dokla, and that is going to put a stop to that. Lion retain their ginormous gold lead.
Oh, yeah.
And we're only 2 minutes and 45-ish seconds away from the Dragon Soul Flower, so Lion could be very patient. This is a very patient team usually, and so they can continue to just control the game as they have, for the last like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And they could just wait for the Dragon Soul / Baron if they want to. Again, the Dragon Soul is going to be like 10 seconds ahead of the Baron, so you can go there first. And then the 10-second delay plus the fact that you have Rise means that they can't do like a desperate Baron rush. If they do, you Realm Warp over there after deleting the Dragon instantly, and you kill them at the Baron pit too. So it's actually quite good for Lion here. They can just calmly split push again, set up the map fully in their control, and go for the Giga objectives, or, see how well the siege goes and maybe just end the game before those things come up.
Yeah, they can kind of do whatever they want, and I got to keep going back to the compositions here. Like C9, we said from the very beginning, they've got to be in a position of power. They've got to play from ahead because they just don't have any engage mechanisms. As soon as you lose that 3-for-0 fight in the bot side river around the second dragon, the game's just kind of out of your control.
And here's the thing. You can say, if you don't have any engage, like that's just very straightforward. But you can also turn the tables if you have range advantage. But they don't have range advantage. So if you don't have both of those things, then it makes it really hard to play. If you have range advantage, then you can poke and you can like make the enemy team have to engage on you.
Right, the pressure's on them.
But if you don't have range advantage because Berserker's got a Caitlyn with 10 billion range here with Hex Optics and
rapid
fire, then like you don't have range either because Ornn Ultimate is also very long range and Caitlyn pressure. And so Cloud9 are in this really tough spot where they don't have the ability, strong ability to engage themselves, but then they also don't have range advantage. And so, it does make it super difficult. And then also the not winning early part. So.
Yeah, that part's also really tough. When Caitlyn is just absolutely stomping the lane and you've got total control over the bot side through that, it's a nightmare to have to play into. And you can see Berserker and Dokla putting the last little bit of damage onto the only remaining tier 2 turret on the C9 side. 8-2 in turret count, I feel like, is a very accurate descriptor of how control over the Rift has gone in this first game.
Yeah. I want to see Berserker damage to towers after
probably really high.
I mean, yeah, his damage to champions and towers probably both very high. That Caitlyn is siege machine. So it looks like they opted to do the setup here for the dragon we were talking about, Flower. So this is going to be it. Is there a miracle in store for C9? Because if so,
now's the time.
You need it now.
Now is the time. Vulcan going to lose about half his HP here. Immediately flashes out of the second half of the Call of the Forge God. So Lion are going to commit some resources there. Force out the flash from the C9 support. Dokla just takes no damage from anything at all with the powered shield from the teleport, as C9 are still scrambling to try and defend here at this Dragon Soul. Blabber, however, chunked down to half HP, and remember, that's their only frontliner. Isles goes in, APA forced into the stasis, flashes away to escape the follow-up from Dokla. Blabber still frontlining as Thanatos walks up right behind him here with a Flame Spitter. Dokla forced to flash, stays alive in the meantime. Blabber with only 300 HP and no ulti, though. That Xin Zhao cannot re-enter the fight.
Yeah.
The Dragon's going Lion's way.
That was good damage from Saint over that wall. Saint on the bottom side of the thick wall here was able to blast him for the last little bit, force the ultimate, and there's the Dragon into Realm Warp Baron combo that we were talking about.
You call it, my friend. It's just so tough to deal with this when the enemy team is this far ahead, when they've got the Rise. Now you've got the Chemtech Soul. Now you've got Baron number 2 for Lion. I feel like this has got to be your game-ending push coming up.
I will not take that bet.
You're not going to take that bet? Okay.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. If you were going to take that bet, I was going to be like, I was going to be interested to see how you would spin that one, because this is just... The game state just feels so impossible for C9 to find an angle without Lion having a major blunder.
It is so cool to see the rapid growth of Lion. Just think about how early we still are in this year, Flowers.
Yeah, it's only April.
The lock-in tournament was very short. That wasn't even like a normal long split for for LCS or anything.
Like
that was
a little baby split.
Exactly. Very short little tournament that we just had. And from the beginning, well, Blabber is toast.
Yeah, I don't really see a world where you can get away from this one. Yeah, Xin Zhao ulti's nice, but having 5-item Caitlyn is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the upside of this Lion roster that people were debating. Oh, are these really strong players going to be able to work together very quickly? How long is it going to take for the chemistry of this Lion team to really come together? And so I think the quick ascent of this team from the beginning of lock-in tournament to the end of lock-in tournament, then showing up at first stand and honestly taking Brazil, but then also some very good early games at the very least versus JDG. Obviously they fell apart and they lost some very winnable positions internationally, but still very early. And now they're going to go for the end on this game.
Yep, APA forced into his stasis yet again as Inspired engages, and they full send after Sven. Guardian Angel is going to proc here on Inspired as Isles finally falls. APA stays alive and gets the shutdown on that enemy support. But considering Inspired didn't actually die for real because the Guardian Angel purchase was completed, Lion is still going to keep pushing forward. APA losing the passive, losing his life, and C9 are just about losing this game. First Nexus turret's gone. Second one falls before I can finish my sentence. C9 are forced all the way back into the fountain. Lion are going full in for the full dive, but it won't even matter. 16-6. Game 1 goes to Lion.
Blasted in lane and never got to be relevant in the game at all. The Nico and Caitlyn answer from Lion was very, very good and executed well and really determined a lot of the game. So we're going to have bot lane priority again with Nami starting out. Nami right now has, did get a small nerf on the patch, but still has tremendous value because you have the versatility of going with, Ezreal, Corki, or Lucian type action. Sven has definitely been more of a preference towards the Corki-ish combinations with it, so we'll see where they go. But they did, nerf the damage a bit here for Nami early, so we'll see if it's still just as potent in lane or not.
And funny enough, I do believe that these 6 bans are exact copies of what they were in game number 1. Karma, Seraphine, Orianna banned out by Lion. Pantheon, Azir, and Varus banned out by C9. That Nami first pick you already mentioned there for Vulcan on the C9 side is answered by a first pick Jarvan for Inspired. It's another one of those top-tier AD junglers that's just been the meta game for so long now, and Inspired's going to be making plays on it.
Yeah, but it always is weird for me to pick my Jarvan before I see the enemy carries, because Jarvan, you usually want your Jarvan into somebody that doesn't have dashes.
Something immobile.
What was I just saying? Corki and Ezreal and Lucian, those are pretty...
all 3 guys that know how to dash.
Yeah. So that's the only weird thing to me, but because you kind of expect one of those pairings. Otherwise, though, Jarvan is pretty universally good. It is better when you can pick it into carries that aren't going to have an easy way out of your Cataclysm. But as you say, he is a pretty good fighter, just generally here. And if you've got a Nautilus too, then you've got very good engage again. And that was the recipe for Lion. They've got plenty of go batons.
Well, even though Corki might be able to fly out of the Cataclysm, the spear is one of nature's hardest counters to the fish.
Okay.
So Nami is definitely going to be in some trouble here. Vulcan will be very easy to kill with the engage power that LYON has, and it looks like alongside that Corki and Nami, we are going to go Renekton for Thanatos in the top lane for C9, back over on the other side. It's a very nautical-themed bottom lane matchup here in this game.
Water.
3 out of 4 champions are some type of related to the ocean. So we've got MF Nautilus going up against the Corki and the Nami. You talked about the CC with the Jarvan and the Nautilus having plenty of engage. Bullet time flying over the top of that is a nightmare to have to deal with.
Yeah, LYON said, okay, well, recipe worked pretty well in game number 1, and we are going to have a strong push bottom lane here with lots of kill pressure. We've got a ganking jungler. So Nautilus Misfortune lane has huge burst damage, huge CC setup, and if you get a Jarvan controlling gank angles around the bottom lane, this could very well be another, bot lane diff here for LYON already early on in the draft. Renekton is a pretty good blind pick here, especially because it's Thanatos, and he really likes and loves Renekton, but you also get a couple of protection bans because this is the other side for them. So take out the Gnar, the common answer here. And since they already banned Dokla's Varus, you don't have to worry about the Varus top lane into your Renekton either, which can also be painful.
Well, we don't have the exact mirrored role selections in the first half of the draft like we did in game number 1. LYON still prioritizing their bottom lane and their jungle. But since we have that, we got a lot of bilge water here.
Well, they didn't do the gangplank. I was hoping for the full synergy.
The full LARP is denied us for now, but we do have double AD jungler bans for LYON in the second half here, the Wukong and the Nocturne, keeping those away from Blabber. And alongside that Gnar ban you mentioned, LeBlanc also banned out by C9, and the response for Dokla into the Renekton is Cannon.
That's a bit of a combo with the Wombo here, Flowers.
Yeah, Slicing Maelstrom plus Bullet Time does hella damage.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, but it is hella.
It is at least 1.5 hellas. And you've got Jarvan and Nautilus here too, so that combo right there is looking pretty good. All right,
but you know what also looks good?
Yeah, this is the trump card, the last pick for Cloud9. But I raise you an APA Ziggs.
Okay.
Fair enough. If you're really good with your satchel as well, maybe you can delay the Kennen getting into your team and try and zone the Kennen off a little bit. They do have Sejuani ult this time around as well. So they've got Sejuani ult into Nami ultimate. So Cloud9 do have their own engage and their own ability to make and force fights this time as well. Plus Sejuani and Renekton is just one of my favorite combos of all time for top lane and jungle. And so that's a combo where you can gank the Kennen and you take away this counter pick, the teeth of the counter pick basically. If you kill and take away the Kennen flash, then it becomes Renekton always having kill pressure, and every minion wave that comes up is really dangerous for the Kennen, because if your minions are coming up in a line, then it provides a very easy slice and dice engage for the Renekton. So if Sejuani can get a single successful gank off on the Kennen, it can really turn the matchup. But if the Jarvan is doing a lot of work here and sets up both his top side and his bottom side for success, then those could be oppressive matchups. So I think a lot of jungler intervention over some of these matchups could have a huge effect.
Okay. Do you want to see it mostly focused around that top side, or maybe
both will have big ability to snowball and big ramifications, because the Nautilus Misfortune as well. If you can influence that one and get them ahead, then they're going to constantly put kill pressure on Nami.
Well, I feel like the pressure is on C9 to bounce back here again. The finals was just such an upset compared to what everybody was expecting based on the whole split up until that point. LYON was clearly the better team going into the finals. In game number 1, they were clearly the better team here today. Can C9 find a way to regain their footing, stabilize a little bit, or is the LYON reign of domination going to continue?
Let's find out now, Flowers. All right.
Let's do it.
They got counter pick in bottom and top lane here for LYON, so let's see how well they can use it. Again, Saint here, though, he's out of position. He's going to have to use a summoner spell or something, maybe. I guess Vulcan can't get too close. Just an extra health trade here. So a lot of potions being chugged early on. Saint immediately pops one for himself and still going to be very down heavy.
Ooh. Yeah, meanwhile, there was a mid laner battle, and now we've got a jungler battle as Blabber is forced out of his own red quadrant by Inspired on the Jarvan.
So Saint is dry. He has 0 potions left after that.
Okay, it's a desert out here in mid lane.
That one's going to sting.
Arid.
Took some bombs and took some Nami damage as well. At the same time, though, while Saint was taking damage, Inspired, of course, doing the invade here. This is something we did see in finals, especially later on into the finals for LYON versus Cloud9 last time around. Blabber, of course, is still going to have a really good reactionary course of action because Saint has been taken out basically so early on with all the health. He is mid-prio for Blabber, so it's very easy for Blabber to say, okay, fine, you counter-jungle me, I'm going to go take your Raptors. Inspired's coming over, though, to try and defend anyway, and he's got a red buff.
Yeah, APA sidesteps away from the knock-up of the EQ combo from Inspired, who now has to be a little bit careful. The Satchel Charge is already armed on the ground. The charm on the Blabber from Saint to provide for the escape route for Inspired. So C9... yes, they're going to spend the flash from APA to make sure that he stays alive there, but Inspired also having to use his flash on the Jarvan.
I still would question the move from APA as far as using your flash. Usually the Jarvan's goal is to trade flashes with you. And so, ooh, they're going to find Blabber, continue to hunt Blabber.
He's going to bounce it off the Gromp. Oh, Blabber down to 150 HP. Isles continuing to go forward. The dredge line misses, but the bullet does not. Berserker with first blood, and this is so tilting if you're Blabber, man.
Yeah, the bottom lane counter pick here has the push. They invade your jungle. Operation Attack Blabber successful for LYON yet again. Oof, that is painful. And again, back to the mid lane too. Usually the Jarvan wants to trade his flash for your flash of the mid laner anyway. And so in APA trying to go for the kill onto him and trading flashes there is kind of still good for Inspired, even though it looked like him being the one to run away. But bottom lane is leaving here. So you heard the ping. I heard yellow ping there. I heard the noise. So they did say, yo, you got to get out of there. Like, we can't control this bottom lane. They pushed us. And Flowers, they just walk them down. They've got vision. They know with the last flash there, they can answer flashes. Berserker knows every day of the week, I'm going to finish this one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's free money.
Yeah. Cloud9 woes continue, Flowers.
It's rough, man.
It really is. It really is. They had such an electric start to this year. You know, just dominating the lock-in tournament for so long, all the way up until finals, but came crashing down at the hands of LYON. And LYON looking like they want to do it again here. They've really had their number. Inspired with the level 1 invade onto Blabber. You know, picking his Jarvan, and then Blabber has the Sejuani into it, you know you're going to be able to have a lot of really good early choices. And then double counterpick to counterpick the top lane, counterpick the bottom lane. And so the Berserker and Isles move up. This continues the pain, and
oh, man. It's just Inspired's just bullying the guy at this point. Jumping over the wall.
Yoink.
Stealing away his camps. Now the Gromp is respawned, and look who's here. It's Berserker and Isles again, backing up Inspired on the invade, as LYON is also rotating Saint over here. So they are full sending towards this. Blabber's only still level 3 on the Sejuani. If he can kill the Gromp, he'll at least take over to level 4, but that's not going to happen. Inspired smites the Gromp down, hits level 5 before Blabber hits level 4.
We're going to have to start a GoFundMe for Blabber.
Yep, I'll...
Anybody in crowd got some jungle camps they want to contribute to Blabber?
I'll throw in a chicken camp. Sure, why not?
We're accepting all jungle camp donations for Blabber at the moment. He's going to have to go wait for his Krugs. They're still a ways off.
Okay, meanwhile, the replay you can see in the bottom lane here just kind of showing how some of these summoner spells are getting forced out. And I just got to give so much props to Berserker and Isles so far in this series.
Yeah.
They dominated lane in game number 1. Berserker's Caitlyn controlled things start to finish.
Oh my God.
Isles had amazing plays. And now Blabber's still level 3, thinking about maybe making a play up here on the top side. Isles hits the dredge line on Sven back in bottom. And here we go. All right, 2v1. Dokla drops the Slicing Maelstrom, flashes away, so they'll at least get the Summoner spell alongside the ulti from Dokla, as now Isles again looking to put the pressure onto Sven. Vulcan wants to fire back. That's a lot of damage over the Misfortune. And the Mega Inferno Bomb seals the deal. Now, Isles is still trying to see if maybe he can get one back here, make this an even trade. Dredgeline in onto Sven. Needs a little bit more, but he doesn't quite have it. The flash away from Sven. Isles staying alive for now. Right back into the brush, but no! C9 pick up 2.
Woof, okay. Blabber is still really starved, but at least the bottom lane is eating good flowers for Cloud9. And the hopes there for Cloud9 in this series. This is a must-win game for them. So double kill for the bottom lane is going to be huge for the C9 morale down there. Dokla has no flash. Remember how one gank can really change this matchup so heavily against the Kennen because you become so vulnerable.
And there they go. Thanatos with the slice forward. Flashes for the Ruthless Predator.
Yep.
Blabber trying to follow up here, and there's your stun from Permafrost. Dokla continues trying to find a way out of this one. They do need a little bit more damage on the C9 side, but no. Cole the Meek has just enough range, and Dokla drops C9 with a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, you lose so much of your pressure when you have no ult, no flash for the Kennen. Nice punish here from Blabber. He wraps around. He may be underfed on the Sejuani, but you still have your synergy with Renekton. You can get in there for the stun combo. Thanatos knows I can close the distance, no problem. I have flash advantage, and they get it. Inspired's back to invading bottom side, though. And there's still not a lot that the C9 duo can do about it. They have a big minion wave they need to get to.
Inspired has a personal vendetta against this Gromp. Every time this thing spawns, he is in the jungle stealing it away immediately. 59 to 33 in farm in the jungle is quite the gap, Kobe.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say he has a personal vendetta against Blabber because he's been pushing him around the map.
Blabber and the Gromp. Inspired doesn't like anybody in the jungle. Now he's taking the dragon as well. True. This is the so we won't get Chemsol in back-to-back games here since this first Drake is the Chemtech one. We'll be able to secure this just about the time when the Void Grubs spawn. As Blabber is hanging around the area, does finally have the level 6 on the Sejuani, but no opportunity to go in and try to make anything happen here. So dragon secured at no cost to LYON.
Yeah, we'll see about the bounce back on the other side too. So gold pretty close here, and just going to be the extra dragon advantage plus the full level in jungle. But Ziggs Bomb, another Ziggs Bomb. This one does touch. It's not going to be able to fully kill or anything because they have no stun setup. But the Ziggs Bomb last time on bottom lane where it was Nami Bubble,
huge.
Nami Bubble into direct center hit of the Ziggs Bomb was quite big.
Ooh, Dokla now under some pressure. Thanatos going for the all-in here. Dominus makes it easy. Thanatos with the solo kill.
Yeah, it always feels so good for the Renekton after it, the matchup turns here because then the Renekton finally gets payback against this annoying little rat that's been harassing him all lane long, and he's catching back up in CS off of these extra kills they've been getting. Gives him a lot more time to finish up the CS up there too. Inspired, is he going to go back in for this? Looks like wants the return. Dokla doesn't have teleport, but doesn't matter. He's got mid lane priority.
Yep, even though Inspired does not have a smite, there's no way for Blabber to really hang around here. You could see that APA wanted to go ahead and take his base. Will teleport back towards mid lane now, but that is first Drake as well as all 3 grubs going the way of LYON, so nice early objective control for them down here in the bottom lane. It is still a slight lead for Berserker on the MF, but really that Mega Inferno Bomb that you mentioned earlier, turning the tides in C9's favor, prevented this from being just a massively one-sided affair yet again. Isles sidestepping away from the bubble. Nicely done there, but he is still chunked below half HP.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to use Nami ult, because Isles is still level 5, whereas Vulcan got level 6, so no full commitment, though, because Isles still had a route to get out of there. He still has his flash. Vulcan holding his Nami ult, and Blabber has Sedge ult ready, too, so C9, they're coming in, but Isles has the inkling as well. Okay, they might set up the dive. He defensively wards here. Blabber is spending a lot of time, though. Maybe he thought there was going to be some sort of Jarvan aggression, but they're going to move in and try and... Ooh. That, okay. I mean, now they see him, too, so...
All right, well, the wave's just going to crash into the turret. Berserker will clear that all out of the way. Blabber takes his reset, heads on home. Sundered Sky, you can see, completed there for Inspired. Blabber, of course, still handling the components on his side. So Power Spike for Inspired. If he runs into Blabber in the jungle, he's going to be more confident than ever. And he's been playing this whole game very confidently so far.
Yep, definitely has. Thanatos, the biggest lead for Cloud9 up there. The Renekton. Getting the kills for Renekton is big, and being able to get CS and tower plates back in his favor as well means Renekton might be an issue. And Thanatos can get really, really strong here, and he's gone for a rush into Mercury Treads because he's playing into double AP solo laners. He will be an actual strong team fighter because, number one, he'll have the Sejuani synergy.
Yeah.
Ooh. But we're just happy for Blabber getting camps, I think.
Yeah.
He's gonna get some Krugs!
A little bit of economic relief here for the Sejuani as he does pick up all of the baby Kruggies. As Dokla continues trying to keep the pressure on Thanatos up here in the top lane with the cannon, has his alternator, has his Vamp Scepter. So bottom lane, Isles goes into the dredge line here yet again, but the TP about to arrive for C9 means LYON has to get out. Sven has plenty of DPS, but now LYON is also sitting in the reinforcements. Saint decides to just charge forward with Inspired right behind him, and now the bullet time makes mincemeat out of Vulcan. The Cataclysm turns him into fish soup, and LYON pick up 2 for nothing.
Oof, yeah, you don't want to fight over that bottom lane. LYON with the extra advantage on Saint's teleport. I mean, wait, Inspired, they both have Smite. I wanted to see...
Yeah, hold on, wait, we actually have some PvP up here on the top side. Thanatos gonna take that again. In the solo kill matchup, in that 1v1, Thanatos secures the kill. Meanwhile, Inspired continuing to, as you were pointing out, he's fighting for those Gromps. He just will not get out of the jungle.
I'm pretty sure he won because his Smite is now upgraded. Previous to us seeing the culmination of the Smite fight on that Gromp, they both had 900 Smites.
Yeah.
And now Inspired has his upgraded one, and it's going to be a long time before Blabber gets one.
Yeah, Blabber still has 11 pet snackies on his jungle item. That's not... Yeah, his tempo has been completely ruined this game as Berserker and Isles are back down into position here in bottom lane. Bloodthirster completed for Berserker. The sustain on this thing is just so nice. It's so easy to keep your health topped off. Just take the little trades where you can get them going up against that Corki, who's normally going to be able to poke you down pretty effectively with the rockets, but C9 are deciding to take this chance and go for the second dragon of the game. Remember, the first one did go over to LYON and Inspired earlier on. Heal used by Isles for the extra movement speed boost to not get caught in the Aqua Prison there. And it looks like C9 should be able to secure this. You can see Saint is around the area, but since Inspired is not, LYON is not going to overcommit to trying to stop this. Instead, Saint's just going to get the wave pushing in mid. Inspired trying to steal away the red buff, but now finds Thanatos guarding it, trying to make sure that Blabber doesn't fall further behind.
Yeah, this is the best thing about having a fed top laner. They can come defend your camps for you.
Yeah, bodyguard.
Thanatos is Blabber's champion at the moment.
Ooh, now Blabber. Nice Glacial Prison there on a Saint who has to flash away to survive. Inspired also getting out just barely in time. Sven down to 1/3 HP. Does escape thanks to the Valkyrie.
Inspired's going back. Look at this.
Yeah, dude, he's ready.
Look at the mini-map. Oh, wait.
Inspired is just Blabber's nightmare right now when he steals the red buff. He uses the flag combo to get away over the wall at the same time, and now he's going back in again. Blabber wants to at least take some Krugs. Meanwhile, down here in the bottom lane, Sven's down to 200 HP.
Oh
Inspired goes for the dunk onto Blabber. The Protoplasm Harness keeping him healthy enough for now, but no. Saint wants to use the Spirit Rush to go in, but he cannot find the charm. The minions are there just at the right time to make sure there's not a clear line of sight. But LYON have recognized Blabber as the point they want to target in this second game, and his life is not fun.
Right. The real fight that you got to keep track of is Inspired versus Thanatos, not Inspired versus Blabber. And Inspired is kind of treating Thanatos like another jungle camp that he had to leash, like a very scary
Very
one.
powerful camp.
He's like, okay, I got back off, and then Renekton goes back to lane. Okay, now I can reinvade, and then Renekton comes back, and then right back in and continue punishing Blabber. But okay.
All right, Isles taking a pretty serious chunk of damage here. Saint shows up right behind him. Charm flies over the wall. Doesn't connect, but it creates enough space for Isles to safely get away, still with more than half the health bar intact. Honestly, the game overall is very close. Not even 1,000 gold separates the teams. It was C9 in an overall lead there for a while. Now it is swung back towards LYON.
Yeah, and I actually like Cloud9's side, because if you have to have someone who is underfed and someone who's going to be weak, you want it to be your Sejuani utility, right? And not your Kennen that needs a lot of extra, money for damage. If it's going to be a weak Gunblade Kennen, it might be hard for Dokla to stay alive, even if he does find a flank to go in. it's like it's a very long time before you can get Zonias, and maybe you don't even get a Zonias. Like you aren't going to have a lot of survivability, and they might be able to like zone you out of fights. And Thanatos with early merc treads can just keep like trying to run you down. Meanwhile, Sejuani, you're still going to provide a lot of CC. Ideally, obviously, it'd be better if you were more tanky, but we'll see here as far as which member being underfed and still being able to perform in the team fights matters a lot.
And I also have to keep my eyes on APA Ziggs. Anytime he's allowed to actually play his signature champion in one of these games, we know the amount of pressure that he can secure with it. Meanwhile, C9 going for the full all-in on Isles. He survives with a shield for now. The Dredge line does not manage to provide an escape route, but he can still walk it off. Meanwhile, up here in the top lane, the Rift Herald is going to be summoned up by LYON as they go in for the 3v1 against Thanatos, who might just be able to make it a 1-for-1, but no, the Cataclysm dunks him down. First turret also destroyed by LYON up here in the top lane before C9 is able to get something back on bottom side. The Rift Herald value coming up pretty clutch there, and they might even get the second charge. Bullet Time's going to wipe out most of the minion wave, and Berserker is about to get paid.
Yeah, LYON basically, they won, quote-unquote, won the fights on both sides, because even bottom side, even though they didn't kill anyone, being able to have both members survive, delay the take on the tower as well, and then fully escape there was basically a W for the weak side, line play on bottom side. And then they obviously were successful on the top side, and Dokla survived without giving a counter kill. So that was good for LYON, honestly, on both sides. Even though Cloud9 are able to at least get the bottom side tower eventually, they're unable to take down either Isles or Saint in their efforts.
This Gromp, man. Every single Gromp
Flavor's going to get him this time.
Has there been a Gromp spawn that Inspired wasn't here contesting this Gromp? He's just in the jungle of Blabber the entire game long. It is about a 2,000 gold lead now for LYON, just about 18 minutes into the game. As you can see, the TP escaped there from APA, knew that he could have been in a pretty precarious situation, so goes ahead and takes the fast track out back home, does have the Blackfire Torch completed here on the Ziggs. This champion will do so much damage once he's got 2-3 items online, and we know that APA is so very scary on it. I particularly like the Mega Inferno Bomb usage that we've seen so far. Want to see more of that. Berserker trying to defend the tier 1 turret here in the mid lane, but there's just not enough HP left on the thing, so C9 are going to knock that one down. They're actually ahead in turrets now.
They do get the mid one down, opening it up here. Nice timing with the dragon spawn, so they should be able to get it. Dokla has no teleport, so pretty sure the call for LYON is just try and get some money, Dokla, up there, please.
Yep.
Get some more money on that cannon so that you are a real threat of a flank.
Catch up a little bit.
They really do need some threat behind that flank, and if the cannon has flash, then it should be putting Cloud9 on, like, okay, somebody please, everyone has to, be aware of Dokla's presence, has to mark the cannon. We got to try and keep him out. And he's working on it, working on the catch up.
Also, I feel like a lot of times when Kennen is in the meta, one thing that you'll see supports often do is either take Exhaust or at least take Summoner Spellbook to swap over to it, but there's no Exhaust and there's no Summoner Spellbook on Vulcan, so if Dokla does get a big flank with an explosive Maelstrom, that's GG on a team fight.
And honestly, like, as far as like the catch-up, he's been, like, I think he actually has caught up, so he's actually in a decent spot, and his second item will be at a very good timing, because Proto Belt is pretty cheap. Wait.
Ooh, okay. Thanatos keeping the pressure on, forcing the Spirit Rush there out of Saint.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Hold on. Now LYON trying to defend themselves. Inspire takes a ton of damage, but he jumps in here with a Cataclysm, looking to lock up C9. Meanwhile, Dokla with a Slicing Maelstrom doesn't have enough damage to kill off APA here just yet, but does finally secure it. It's at the cost of Berserker, though. 1-for-1 so far, and what's a pretty explosive fight.
Huge fight for Cloud9 there. They crack it, and they get both Summoner Spells out of Berserker, the Flash out of the cannon as well, so they take away that threat. Sven getting paid afterwards as well. More turret play money after the fight. This is both much, much better for Cloud9 now. I mean, the presence of Thanatos, this Renekton being fed and getting the early Merc Treads means he could force the Ahri ultimate out before, really early, before this even breaks out. He forces the Ahri ultimate out, and then he teleports into the fight. And look how they split the fight there. They delay the Inspired Engage so long, by the time Dokla flashes in, there isn't a lot of follow-up. So he kills APA, but Sven kills him, and Thanatos had already dove and killed off Berserker. He's like, yeah, he can't do much when the Renekton teleports into a space like that, but Ziggs ult also had set it up, and so they got both summoner spells off the Misfortune. No flash on the Kennen now either.
Well, it's still a very slight, only a couple hundred gold lead overall for LYON, but the only player that's actually ahead of his counterpart is Inspired. He's just that far ahead of Blabber, so we'll see what he's able to accomplish here. Does have the Black Cleaver alongside the Sundered Sky, so the Jarvan is very strong when he goes in.
Yeah, and Cloud9, they did a good job like kind of delaying his engage last time around, and then the follow-up wasn't like perfectly synced for LYON either, so honestly feeling pretty good about Cloud9's chances of pushing this to a game 3 as well.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit more stage time here. APA on Ziggs, moving in, trying to get some jungle territory. He's had pretty good dodges on St. Charms for a lot of this game, and continues to do so here. They don't know, now they know that there's the ward in there. But again, Thanatos does so much. This Renekton with Merc Treads on side lanes, very good into either solo laner. So Thanatos can constantly get side lane pressure regardless of who is sent into him. On top of the Merc Treads, he even has the tenacity from Sterix as well. So he really gets a lot of uptime in these fights, and he still has his flash. He didn't have to use it in the previous team fight. That's why it's so big. They got Berserker's flash. So Thanatos definitely will be a huge presence, especially with the added threat of Sejuani passive stun stacking with him too. And Cloud9 kind of utilized that. They have him push bottom and then rotate over to mid lane so they can get this mid lane tower.
And when you've got the Ziggs, taking towers is so incredibly easy. The Satchel just gives you so much free damage to detonate them. So now we've got the gold lead completely erased. C9 with a very marginal lead overall for themselves. We've got 1 minute on the clock until the next Drake spawns. It's not going to be soul for either side, but it would bring C9 to soul point if they can secure that for themselves. You've still always got to be mindful in these neutral objective fights when you're up against Misfortune. Make sure you don't give her the clean angle on the ulti, finding a perfect bullet time straight down a ramp or something like that. But so far, I feel like C9's been doing a good job.
Definitely agree. This game looking a lot better. And now Sven also has his Lord Doms completed too. So he can cut down Inspired and Isles as well when they go in. See about the group though. Recall for APA as well. He's going to grab another needlessly large lot, a little bit of extra AP to back up if they can get a combo here. So Blabber ultimate can look for Berserker. They know Misfortune no flash. Her move speed's very high with Strut, so it's still pretty hard to hit her, but they can look for it. If you fish with a Sejuani ult and maybe a flank from the bottom side, Renekton.
Here we go, but the Glacial Prison misses. Saint's going to take a ton of damage to the Mega Inferno Bomb. Berserker is already down. Thanatos here on the flank looking to finish off the enemy support as Sven stays alive and inspired. Can't find anything. C9 are looking so much better in game 2.
Yeah, they fish for it and they find it. Sejuani ult pushes Berserker up to the top side, and Ziggs, really good APA ult. Easy for him to land it, gets the big damage. Fully taking down LYON. They're going to get the Baron Flowers, and I would wager that they can even go over with their Baron-empowered recalls to grab the Dragon too. Inspired still dead for another 20 seconds. So we're setting up for the Cloud9 clapback.
This is looking good, man. The engage, the powerful burst. Even though the Sejuani ulti doesn't find the target, there's just so much damage.
And again, yeah, Misfortune's fast, but he forces Misfortune into this small area. So that makes it really easy for Ziggs to land the damage and Sven to just jump on. Boom, they delete the Misfortune. They know he had no flash from the previous fight, so this follow-up fight is really advantageous for them. Nicely executed there by Cloud9. And they didn't even need the flank from Thanatos too. Off on the minimap, you can see Thanatos had a deep flank too, so there was no retreat for LYON there. And Cloud9 will be able to get their Dragon on top of the Baron and should be able to march in to take away a lot of the extra towers here. LYON's still trying to have, do some split pushing and trying to get at least something back on the other side of the map, but they're gonna need like a really, really big combination here, play from Dokla and Inspire to be able to take down Sven. I guess their hope is that Sven now no flash on the Corki, but as long as Sven positions fairly respectfully, Valk is enough to keep him safe. And Cloud9 also have plenty of other threats with APA and Thanatos.
And while Saint is trying to have a little pressure on the map up here in the top side, Doka sidesteps a Glacial Prison down here in bottom lane. The 4-man unit of C9 looking to push into the base of LYON. Takes about half the HP off the turret. Remember, turret HP is deceptive against Ziggs. Once the thing's down to 20% or so, kaboom, already gone. As C9 are going to continue using this bear and continue pushing forward. Dokla with the flash. They want to be respectful of this Kinnan, but at the same time, they know they've got to push their advantages while they have this 3K gold lead, while they have this bear. And for the next 60 seconds or so, Thanatos now creating a second point of pressure over in mid. The raid boss, Renekton, very, very strong. And it's going to create enough space for the rest of the team down here in bottom lane to continue their push towards that tier 3 turret. APA is not even required. They don't even need this satchel for it. Sven's got plenty of damage. Inhibitor about to fall here too. Mega Inferno Bomb just forces Berserker and Isles further away. C9's going to take their first inhib down here in bottom lane, rotate the Wrecking Crew over to mid, and continue the destruction there.
Yeah, even though he whiffs his ultimate, all of his other bombs have been landing. So he's been doing a lot of poke damage here. The Ziggs poke from APA in the offensive siege, providing a lot of value. That plus the rockets from Sven makes pretty easy work. Cloud9 now.
Yep, and here's your engaged Glacial Prison right onto Dokla. The Kinnan's dead before he can even use the ulti. Thanatos stays alive with the extra durability from Dominus. He doesn't even lose his Sterix gauge. He's going to go back to base, heal, teleport, and rejoin the fight if Cloud9 wants to keep the pressure on, but they'll be happy with the 2 inhibitors they've already earned for themselves. They have total control over the Rift. Kobe, this is looking like we're going to game 3.
Yeah, much better look here from C9 this game. Inspired, gonna try and, create something out of nothing here if they can stop some recalls. I guess Vulcan is desynced now, but
okay,
he can swim pretty quickly.
Yeah, fish do like being in the river. Okay, he'll make it away back to...
What about pigs?
I don't know about that one. What about Poros? Inspired and Isles still seeing if maybe there's a pick to be found, but no. C9 is bringing in the reinforcements and Thanatos has arrived. That means LYON has to get out now. They do not want to be dealing with that crocodile. Control continues for C9. No objectives to fight over for the next 2 minutes or so. We'll see if they just want to push further towards the enemy base. There's not a whole lot for them to get since both those inhibitors are already down. The one remaining inhibitor still has the tier 2 turret protecting it up there in top lane as well. So it will take a little bit more investment of resources to force that down, but it looks like that will be the play here for C9 as Blabber with the Summoner's Spellbook teleports up into the top lane. He and Vulcan are going to make sure that that wave is pushing further towards LYON.
All right, everybody, do you think... Wait.
Hold on. We might not have time to think. Saints already chunked down to 1/3 HP as LYON scrambles to try to stay alive. Inspired, chunked to 1/3. Dokla arrives, has the teleport shield, but C9 just, again, looking for any chance they can get to find a pick on LYON and end this game.
Yeah, all right. That's a lot of tools already used. Cloud9 now can just finish up their siege top side. Not long for this world. One Ziggs auto attack with a short fuse pops half the health.
Yeah, this is looking pretty ugly for the LYON squad as C9 are going to continue their siege. 60 seconds until we get the Baron and the Dragon Soul both spawning onto the map for C9. Isles chunked to below half HP again. Has to just try to get away. And C9 have a 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah. That Ziggs poke, very, very annoying. Level 16 Ziggs with death cap completed, by the way.
Yeah, that thing does a bunch of damage.
Yeah, take a guess how much. Don't look!
Okay. Sweet spot or not sweet spot?
The center. Sweet spot.
1,100.
Very close.
What is it?
First, I want to ask chat. Chat, do you think it is over or under Flower's guess of 1,100? Over or under 1,100 damage on the sweep spots on level 3 rank ultimate?
With that, it's got to be over.
It is over. It's only 40 over, though.
Okay, wait, it was actually 1140?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so good.
Very, very close.
All right, I'm happy with that guess. I will take that. That's like a 96% on the test or whatever. That round, that's an A. I will take that.
You get an A+ from me, buddy.
Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, we're putting that one on the fridge as C9 are going to take their 4th Elemental Drake of the game. They will secure the soul for themselves, despite the fact that LYON was really putting the screws to Blabber early on in this game. He was able to weather the storm. Thanatos being the rock up there in the top lane, that raid boss Renekton, that point of power they could play around. Blabber, like you already said earlier, this is a champion that you're fine being behind the curve of the game, right? He's buying thrift store items. He's got his Knight's Vow. He's got his Zeke's Convergence. He can buy the cheap stuff and still be very effective. And now C9 with their Dragon Soul posturing around the Baron, total control over this top side of the map, and another beautiful Glacial Prison stuns off Dokla. The cannon dies before he can even press the ultimate. Now Inspired's got to try to get away. Thanatos with a slice and dice after the enemy jungler. And with Inspired out of the picture, there is no way for LYON to try to stop C9 now.
Yeah, when everyone tells me, oh, jungle's so OP, top lane doesn't matter, then I'll show them this game.
Yeah, this is a great example. You keep this one.
Jungle diff or top diff? Well, in this game, the top diff was more important.
Yeah, the top diff. Where's the jungle diff? Yeah, he's the diff right there. As C9, they don't even need Baron. Berserker's just trying to farm minions in mid, but C9 looks ready to end the game right here. They do have the super minion. They need a little bit more damage to clear out these turrets. First one about to fall. Then you needed one more auto attack. Okay, we're getting a little bit happy here. Berserker cutting the wave in mid at least did provide enough time for LYON to still stay standing for now, but Blabber with the flash, the point blank ulti. And again, LYON players are dying before they can react to anything. The burst from C9 is just massive.
See, you can be way more useful on a Stark Sejuani. Wait.
Oh, Dokla going in. Tries to find the kill into APA, but the Ziggs has enough mana for the satchel to get back over the wall. Meanwhile, Sven flashing forward. He's on a rampage. Inspired is already gone, and the rest of LYON is going with them. It's an ace for C9. Right as LYON thought, maybe we can try to defend this. No, sir, not going to happen. 17-5. C9 bounce back in game 2.
All right, GG, we're going to 3. We've got the Karma and Azir ban so far from Cloud9, and the Mbessa and Nocturne taken out. They're fearful of that, combination engage play.
Okay, so we've had Karma banned every game. We've had Azir banned, Mbessa and Nocturne. Mbessa was banned second half in game number 1. Nocturne was banned second half in game number 2, if I'm remembering correctly. Now remember that Seraphine has also been banned out every time so far here in the first half of the draft. Pantheon has also been one of those permanent bans, so that one's going to be removed by LYON. Varus is still up. That's another one that's been banned in the first 6 so far in both of our games. So I'm curious, what are we going to let through? Orianna, also still up.
Yeah, without the Nocturne, a little bit less, but still impressive. Let's see what they're going to decide to go with. It has been such high bot priority for Cloud9. They first picked Yunara in the first game, then they first picked the Nami in the second game. So really trying to get some sort of that bot lane prio super early on. Ashe Seraphine is definitely very powerful right now. So they want to go with the Seraphine side. Of course, you can pair it with more things than Ashe, but having the slow is super nice. And into the Seraphine, there's multiple options. Interesting they're going with the Bard here for Vulcan. So Vulcan definitely is a huge Bard lover and a very good Bard, but maybe they're going to get Sven something fairly safe on so that he can just kind of farm down there and then they can have more roam time for Vulcan. Because the other angle to go with is always trying to kill the Seraphine lane and go for hook champions. But not this time around because Nautilus was already played. And so pretty easy Ashe Seraphine angle for Berserker and Isles.
Okay, we'll see how much pressure they can get out of this one, see how much extra presence Vulcan will be able to have across the map with that Bard. When people think of NA Bards, Busio is always the one that comes to mind first and foremost, but Vulcan is also one of our better Bard players. I feel like a lot of times he will put on impressive performances with the champion, and we're going to go ahead and see LYON slam the Akali mid for Sane as the response to APA's Orianna.
Yeah, these are always my favorite ones where you give the Orianna and then you take someone that can attack it and put kill pressure not only in lane, but really in side lanes later on as well. So if you want to try and make use of this Bard later on and using ults and trying to get some roaming pressure down, like it's pretty dangerous even for Orianna to be out there. That's a safe champion I was talking about there for Sven, so you can pair it with the Bard and stay pretty safe yourself. Mystic shots, keep your distance, but Honestly, on the opener, I do like the Lion side.
Okay.
I always really like the Akali angle here. Maybe they'll have some good defensive play there with the Bard, but take a look at the jungle because jungle's really been whittled down. So
yeah.
I want to see if they throw some more bans here and try and push them out a little bit more. Jungle has been pretty advantageous regardless for Inspired for Lion. And I wonder if like Blabber might have to actually be on another just like utility jungle this time.
Like a meatball.
This time around too. But they're basically out of their last 2 picks, they need someone to deliver the Orianna ball and someone to have their heart engaged for them. So let's see what they decide to go with. I mean, Thanatos, main champions, just kind of getting chipped away at here again with the Gnar ban from Lion. Obviously, the Dokla counter pick did not work out well last time around with the cannon. That was certainly a drawback.
Yeah, Dokla's going to want that one back, but looks like we are going to get a Malphite ban here. I mean, that's a useful ban against both top and jungle, right? So a little bit of double value there.
Yeah, Inspired was definitely one of our biggest jungle Malphite enthusiasts that we've had. And pretty good targeting there. A couple of the jungle tanks, because kind of expecting the big front line from Lion regardless.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Lion want to ban out another one of these top lane options here for Thanatos, and we will see the Olaf.
That is a very good one. Ashe Seraphine, obviously, they rely very heavily on CC.
It's their whole thing.
And they crumple in the face of an Olaf. So I like that. Really like that ban, actually. Taking away the possibility of, honestly, either Thanatos or Blabber. Blabber in his day was a great jungle Olaf as well, so good kind of double ban coverage here.
Okay. Whenever I see a Poppy locked in, I always immediately think, what is the value of the Steadfast Presence? It can be very, very powerful against Akali when she tries to go in to stop her from being able to do all of her ninja stuff and flip around and hop and skip and jump. Obviously doesn't have really any value against the Seraphine and the Ashe because neither one of them have dashes. So we'll see how much value they will be able to get out of stopping Saint's mobility in these fights. Lion do now need to show us what we're going to get here for that front line like you're talking about. When I think front line, I feel like Sion fits the bill.
So then, is Thanatos going to play Gwen into the Sion and try and just demolish him again and have a big carry in the top lane? Because they very well could. They could try and counter pick and go like a Gwen angle or something kind of carry there for Thanatos and beat that Sion. But we'll see. Overall, I like the blind Sion anyway because you're going to have Ashe Seraphine that you need that front line. So the Sion and the Wukong, I think both are good picks for them. It's just that, yep, okay.
Yeah, they didn't take a long time to answer your question.
Yeah, exactly as expected. Slam that as soon as you see the Sion. You know that Gwen is coming to snip, snip. All right, can Thanatos have another carry top game? Top diff here for Cloud9, or will Lion team play be able to pull it off? Personally, I do like the Lion side because it has the big team fight with the Ashe Seraphine Sion. It also, the cheers by the way, they fixed the in-game studio screens here. That's big for the audience.
Yeah!
They can see!
We got the screen operating at full power. We got the draft completed for our game number 3. Lions got so much engage again.
But I think the real big thing for me is going to be how effective is this Akali? I have pretty big confidence that Saint is going to be one of those terrifying Akalis. And the thing is, even with your Gwen advantage into Sion, your Gwen also could struggle against the Akali. So either the Orianna or the Gwen, if Akali has a good early start, both of those could be good matchups for Saint. So I'm leaning towards the Lion side, but we'll see. It definitely depends on how fed Thanatos can get.
Inspired also on the Wukong. Wukong plus Seraphine together, I just feel like there's so much engage power with this. Wukong jumps in, he does his first Cyclone, gets the knock-up. Seraphine can fire her ulti through both Wukong and Wukong's clone for maximum overkill range. And then, okay, cool, now we've got Cyclone number 2. Oh, here comes Sion. Oh, here comes an Ashe arrow. There's just so many layers that you can put onto this. It's a real problem if C9 is not taking care to keep their vision up, make sure they watch their flanks and not get caught off guard.
Definitely is dangerous out there. Meanwhile, Thanatos has got the foremost Russian top lane camped, and Ward being down was already spotted, so Inspired knows that they've got vision on him on his Raptor start.
Vulcan also going with the Electrocute on the Bard in this one. This is one of these champs that I feel like we do see a variety of different keystones on. Summoner Spellbook being one of the ones that can be pretty prolific, so I always like to double check for those, see if we can expect any Summoner spell swapping throughout the game, but not going to happen here in this one. Checking where junglers are starting. We are on opposite sides of the rift, so should see Inspired pathing towards top. Meanwhile, Blabber will be heading towards the bottom lane, and I feel like if you're Blabber, you just want to have the early game not be the game too early game.
Well, it should be fine because Wukong's a farmer jungler and not Jarvan style kick your ass early jungle. So I think he's going to be fine. It's actually more on Poppy has a lot of like early creative angles he could go for. And especially if the skill shots from Sven and Vulcan are landing onto Isles. We had the camera down there for a little bit at the beginning as APA takes a nice turret shot and gets a Pepega Frog emote from
I love that emote.
From Saint as a response. Isles was taking a couple of the early Mystic shots and some damage, so have to be a little bit careful there as the Ashe Seraphine early on. Of course, the Seraphine is squishy, is vulnerable. You've got plenty of CC and set up for yourselves, but have to be worried if you eat too many skill shots.
All right, Dokla eating the business end of the scissors up here as Thanatos on the Gwen will try to put as much pressure onto this Scion early as is possible. Inspired pathing up towards this top side of the map. Now you can see clearing the smaller camps before he goes for the red buff. Meanwhile, Berserker and Isles still just chilling down here. Again, it's all about those skill shots like you're talking about. Can Sven and Vulcan constantly find those, constantly make sure they're putting pressure, on the Seraphine's mana, make sure she can't just be an infinite battery of resources in the lane. Thanatos wants to get this wave crashed in. Dokla doesn't have a lot of resources to work with. Inspired in the top side of the river here, going to clear out that Scuttle Crab. Dokla's down to about 100 HP, and this lane does not look fun.
Yo, Bard mid is waiting for the teleport from Akali as well. So I wonder if Vulcan could... Okay, it looks like about 200, 250 health worth of damage on arrival for Saint.
Plus Hot Cocoa.
Plus Hot Cocoa deliveries for
the
Orianna. Some big health differences from Vulcan presence, but Blabber did the full clear recall and skipping Scuttle Crab, so he could be here early with the Poppy for contesting these Raptors. I actually really like this from Blabber because Poppy, especially when you know you've got a roaming support like Bard, if you get your buy timer, it's definitely worth skipping the early crab so that you can just take away those Raptors from Inspired. He's never going to get those back. Meanwhile, you can just go get your crab afterwards anyway. So nice little maneuver there from Blabber to very, very slightly delay the Wukong farming. Just take away one camp and make use of the Bard roam.
Okay, Blabber.
Oh, dude!
Ooh, that feels bad. Losing the Scuttle Crab to the enemy support. Blabber's Crabbers do not succeed today.
Take back what I said. You can't go get the Scuttle whenever you want.
Nope.
Not when Isles is watching.
Seraphine is right there ready and waiting to steal it away with a high note. So Isles will be happy about that one. 30 seconds until we have our first dragon spawn in this game. We haven't really seen super early dragon priority so far. I feel like it was around 8 minutes in game number 2, around 7 minutes in game number 1, I think. But we're not seeing anybody just beeline straight forward as soon as it spawns.
Yeah, not important for me so far.
I got it actually.
Oh, nice.
Really? Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty nice.
It's not expected thing, but it is nice. Inspired. The little clip that kind of cut off what he was saying ahead of time, but he started that way. He started that replay by saying it's not that important for me. So seems like he wasn't that worried.
Okay, Saint trying to go in after APA, but immediately jumps back after Vulcan's ready for the follow-up. Blabber wants to dive in for the tackle. First blood, C9.
The double gank. Bard roams from Vulcan, finding some extra power here with Blabber there to finish it off. Vulcan gets the flash out of him, and Blabber finishes it off. Now Inspired's going for a Gromp steal here. Blabber's on the hunt, and Blabber has Smite too. Smite fight! Oh,
Nope.
doesn't walk up to go see it.
It's just Gromp violence again from Inspired. Moves in, steals that one away, but C9 are going to be happy about Blabber getting himself that first blood here on the Poppy, swooping in to pick up that kill on Saint.
You may have stole my Gromp, but I stole your mid lane champion camp.
The most important camp. Nice CC there on Vulcan. Berserker and Isles continuing to go forward. They want the kill onto the Bard. Berserker going through the magical journey, and he finds the kill. C9 under serious pressure now as Sven barely stays alive. Blabber's ready to follow it up, and Sven gets the kill with a Mystic Shot. Now Saint's coming in up the wall, trying to protect Isles, who does flash away to barely live.
Ooh, we are getting hot. I mean, I like the first chase, but then Blabber on the timer here to... Wait, does that...
You gotta be kidding me. Nice shot.
I'm gonna look, see if there was any when was the last time they saw Seraphine? Let me see here. Continue, Flowers.
Okay.
Investigate.
All right. Kobe is investigating whatever's happening right now, as Inspired does have to pop the Cyclone. Let's see if there's anything he can do here. Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, he's got Saint next to him, but C9 are moving as a unit. They know that if this Akali is allowed to try to pick off stragglers, that's exactly where she wants to be, but nobody on C9 is straggling.
All right, that was pure blind from Sven. The last time they saw Seraphine was as Seraphine just exited their own tribe rush. So it's not like he saw him walk into the lower part, because Ezreal very clearly targeted the lower part of that tribe rush.
Yeah.
It could have been either the top side or the bottom side of it, but really good prediction and snipe there from Sven to get the other kill. So this ends up, Flowers, with actually being a 2-for-1 in Cloud9's favor. Because Berserker and Isles, they do get the chase kill onto Vulcan. But because of Blabber's recall time in there, he is there for the pickup. And then this one, by the way, nice snipe. He guessed on the bottom side of the tribe rush.
Oh! I feel like that was all of us in that moment.
Yeah, I like these.
That was a pretty good shot, though. But yeah, Sven living there. In that initial dive, you saw the Seraphine try to get the lockdown, try to get the root. It just barely misses Sven. If that hits, they can follow up and secure the kill onto the Ezreal. Then he can't fire back for the extra damage onto Berserker. He can't get the snipe onto Isles. So Sven staying alive there ends up being a big swing in the overall outcome of that play. Beautiful shot comes out from Berserker here with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Now APA's got to try to get away from Saint. Flashes back and stays alive.
Okay, Flash acquired. That's what they're looking for. Ult for ult trade, but extra Flash advantage now for Saint. The Orianna, definitely going to have a bit of a dangerous time. This is one of the things from Champ Select you're looking at is how effectively can they attack this Orianna. So nice Ash Arrow from Berserker and follow up there from Saint to get the Flash out. But Thanatos has been, I guess this is probably about the expected level of Thanatosing and farm advantage in the Gwen versus Sion.
And a little bit of damage here on the Vulcan as the Bard just continues roaming around, continues dropping off these hot cocos for APA. Each one of those giving the value of, like, you know, a health potion or something. It adds up over time, just providing all of this extra sustain. As long as Orianna can't get chipped down, it's much harder for the Akali to feel like he's at a spot where he can really force APA to play more defensively, where Saint can kind of have that control over the lane. So I like what we're getting from Vulcan so far here in this early game. C9 up about 1,000 gold. Berserker and Isles trying to keep the pressure on down here in bottom. Farm dead even between the two carries right now. But overall, it's just slight leads towards pretty much everybody on C9 over their LYON counterparts. The only exception being that Isles has a little bit more money on his Seraphine. But it's the Gromp. Again, every single time that the Gromp is alive in the enemy jungle, Inspired wants that frog.
So the Frog does give pretty high rewards as far as jungle camps go. Good gold experience combination, more than Raptors or Wolves. But as far as those Bard shrines, they're really annoying early when the Bard is giving them, you know, like level 1 and stuff to your, you know, laners. But they only like grow to 50 health. So later on, it's not as big a deal.
It's that store brand hot cocoa.
Yeah, sometimes the speed boost, if they're like in a really convenient spot, though, can be super nice too. But we'll see. Dragon advantage for LYON versus the gold and the grubs for Cloud9. And Blabber, he's on the attack now, but it's another Gromp that belongs to Inspired.
You can't out-Gromp the Gromp Master. Nice, there's your Tempered Fate down here with the bottom lane. Vulcan setting this up. Isles takes a lot of burst damage, but they don't have quite enough to kill him here just yet. Inspired, locking up Blabber, needs a little bit more when the second cast of the Cyclone gets it done. Now Inspired repositioning, but he has to die. He can't get all the way through as Saint arrives into the fight, finds the assassination onto Sven, and now APA's got no way home. LYON ends up finding their angle.
Really nice counter there from LYON. Reignover happy with that one as well. And getting paid. Guess what? The Akali Gunblade is now done. Plus, he's got extra magic resistance and boots already from the earlier purchases. So the terror of the Akali flowers mid-game, I think, is going to be very real. Saint is going to have a fun time in the side lanes. Here's another look at it. So even though it starts out with a really good ult and follow-up Q from Vulcan, like he times it perfectly. Vulcan got both in the ult, he times the binding perfectly. But the answer in the delay there, Isles got his ult off and then he flashed away to safety. So Inspired is happy to sacrifice himself on the front lines to ensure that they can get the follow-up because he knows Saint is on his way down and he's going to be able to turn the difference here. Berserker constantly slowing them all, and LYON getting the better in the counter.
Okay, now Vulcan again trying to invade the enemy jungle, but quickly being forced back out, goes on a magical journey to escape, keep himself alive. That Akali is a nightmare to deal with, Kobe, and you already mentioned back in the draft, whichever one of the side laners has to deal with him, if Saint is far ahead of the pace of the game, it's not fun for the Orianna or the Gwen, as now Blabber just trying to get out of this bottom side river, does not want to find himself in a compromised position here, does have his MasterCard power spike with the Sundered Sky, but still just got to be careful when LYON are lurking and looking for these picks. Saint still doesn't have the, well, hold on, that might just be the UI. Not telling me the correct information, but once Saint has his ulti up, that's going to be really scary.
Yeah, definitely has huge kill pressure because a lot of key flashes, or at least the key flash is...
okay, he's got it.
Is still down for APA. Yeah, that scoreboard's kind of bugging out. APA's flash actually only has a few seconds on it. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Now, Thanatos is going to be paid a visit by Saint, but there's no opportunity for LYON to really look for anything on the C9 top laner. Blabber and Vulcan again, just kind of shadowing APA as he shoves out this wave, completes his mid lane quest right there. Berserker and Isles noticing that the enemy support has roamed yet again, just trying to maintain control over the lane, but they do have to play with enough respect that they don't get punished as Vulcan and Blabber return to the bottom side of the map. Both junglers hanging around the area here as Sven just continues to try to land these Mystic shots, find a little bit of poke, but he's got to be careful himself as Berserker's volleys keep finding their target.
Yeah, it does see there a little bit of poke damage. Now Akali Roam is coming first.
Okay.
So LYON moving up for extra space because Saint has the early pathway, but they call it off now. Honey Fruit. Really, really good sustain here, and LYON can just start up the dragon off this. Still, Sven and Vulcan have been poked a little bit at the start of this.
Okay, here we go. Potential dragon fight, 4v4 down here in the river. Top laner teleports are ready to go if they want to try to join. Dragon down to 2,000 HP, Keeper's Verdict. Nice usage there from C9. Guarantees that they can secure the objective without having to fight LYON for it.
Yeah, really good. You know, Poppy and Bard utility combo is so nice. You can Poppy ult them out, and you can Bard escape tunnel so they can't even chase you down afterwards. Great stuff there from Blabber. Poppy ultimate land, secure the smite, and nice little heist from Cloud9.
And honestly, Kobe, 14.5 minutes into the game, we got a real close one here in game number 3. I always like it when the last game of a series is the closest game of the series, and I feel like that's what we're getting here on day 1 of spring. Thanatos has to be a little bit mindful of what LYON's trying to do here. Saint does arrive into the top lane, looking to see if maybe he can finish this off. Jumps in after Thanatos, smoke screen is down, and Saint's got the burst. But now he'll be punished. Blabber's there, ready to clean it up. Stun locks him underneath the turret to make it an even trade.
I feel like that's a case of, I just used my teleport up here. I'm going to get paid.
Yeah, I'm hitting something. I didn't press the button for no reason.
You may kill me, but I'm definitely killing you.
And I don't know, man. I feel like if I'm going to pick between an Akali and a Poppy to have kills, I would rather have the Akali with all of the kills.
Agreed. Agreed. More danger with the Akali. Okay, so teleport invested for that play as well as the Akali ult, which honestly the cooldown is very short already because it's rank 2 already, so Doesn't even have to wait that long to become a really big side lane threat again. All the outer towers are still up though, so it's not hugely problematic at the moment. And honestly, maybe I'm looking at the next Ash Arrow as the real ignition tool here for LYON. But because Akali has no teleport, this should be Cloud9 guaranteed. Rift Herald, LYON really have no business going over there.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if they chose to try to fight around an objective that their Fed Akali cannot make it to in any reasonable amount of time. But Dokla has to flash away now. Tempered Fate still finds him. Blabber's going to summon up the Herald, and honestly, I feel like this is just a blunder from Dokla. What are we doing here?
It is. He was like autoing the pink ward or something.
Yeah, that one was confusing.
Did we just see a death for our one auto on a ward or something?
No way. No way, right?
Yeah, man, that was a ward battle, bro.
Well, unlucky. Dokla's going to want that one back.
And he didn't even kill the ward.
Yeah, he dies without getting the ward. He's going to lose his turret. That's the first turret of the game. That's more money in the Gwen's pocket. We're talking about Akali being a Fed side lane threat. Guess what? Gwen is immune.
Okay, we did say it does, it does depend on how fed Thanatos can get. And as you say, a little influx of gold, that is quite nice. Barely getting the first turret bonus. Let's see, 1,000 gold the advantage of Cloud9. They know that Thanatos at least doesn't have flash.
Yeah, man, Inspired is going to full commit for this one. Thanatos has no flash and he has no needlework, so he can't drain tank to keep himself alive a little bit longer, so Inspired just beats him down, ties our game back up 6-6.
All right, there you go. They kind of bring that one back nicely for themselves. Wukong and Akali both need money, so good stuff here for Inspired to get paid. Both of them can easily get inside the Shroud. Both of them can put high pressure on Orianna. So that diving duo is definitely going to be painful for Cloud9. We'll see about Vulcan's ulti here on Bard. Sometimes the defensive ones can be exceptional. Berserker in the mid lane here, though, seems positioned pretty nicely. I mean, Inspired does lose his blue, but I'm still... The next Ash Arrow, I feel like they do have another opportunity. Jumps in, goes for it, but Blabber still secures.
And I feel like Berserker is just rushing Hex Optics on everything. He seems to be very, very fond of this item.
A lot of AD carries do, because it's efficient, it's pretty cheap. It's like a really good early item. Lots of value, especially since they made it really easy to get the range value from it now too. So I think I'm definitely on board with it.
Okay.
I think it's a good early all-arounder for most crit AD carries.
Well, he's also got the Phantom Dancer completed now, second full item. As over on the other side, Sven is about to hit a power spike of his own with the Manamune almost evolved into the Muramana, but now Thanatos facing the pressure of Inspired here yet again. Full charge decimating smash, and there's no way for the Gwen to get away from that one. But now Isles is in some danger. Blast Cone over the wall, back to the safety of Berserker. Means that C9 is not going to get a punish there.
Man, yeah, the side lanes are already a problem for Cloud9, and it's not even the Akali, it's really the Wukong. Inspired just kind of running Thanatos now. Got him on the bottom side before Dragon, so it should be very good for LYON, but Dokla is taking a lot of damage early.
Yeah, they committed the shockwave to the lone Scion, and it's going to end up resulting in a kill. APA getting the credit for that one as Dokla's already out of the picture. The Drake is secured by Inspired and LYON as Blabber jumps into the mix, but now he's taken a ton of damage from Berserker's focus fire. Keeper's Verdict knocks the LYON AD carry away, keeps Blabber safe for now, but objective still goes LYON's way.
Let's see. Is this going to mean much on the other side? I mean, I wonder how this Akali Gwen goes right now. Santos doesn't have ult, but Saint does. I guess he's just going to recall anyways because it's a little deep. Yeah, it just got kind of weird there as Dokla's on the backside. So Cloud9, I think they're, happy at least to still get money, even though they couldn't get Blabber quite in there in time to steal that dragon, and it's just a good secure from Inspired, gets a combo damage.
All right,
I don't know if he had the full range there or not, coming through the magical journey. Pretty close.
And they've still got that about 1,000 gold lead overall. You can see the biggest advantage for LYON is Saint's Akali. He's level 13 compared to level 14 of Thanatos, though. Top lane quest, of course, paying dividends with that bonus EXP, but Saint is still perfectly confident just to get this wave pushed out down here in the bottom lane. Baron's alive, but because the game is so close, I don't really expect to see anybody doing some sneaky YOLO Barons anytime soon, and we don't have a dragon on the map for another 4 minutes almost, so I feel like maybe it slows down a little bit here. Maybe.
I mean, unless we do have some sort of, Ash Arrow hitting somebody, which is pretty hard since Ezreal is super mobile. Orianna still has Flash right now. Gwen can easily just W it. So yeah, and maybe a Bard initiation like Vulcan. Okay. Vulcan can try and get summoner spells off of either Ashe or Seraphine, making it kind of a pass-through mid now too. You can just look for that, but LYON should be able to push on both sides, and Saint does, yeah. The call is just so mobile. That's why it's like, it's still pretty good.
Ooh, nice arrow there from Berserker. Finds Vulcan before he can go on a magical journey, and they shoot down the C9 support. Nice pick.
Yeah, beautiful pick here. That's going to open up a lot of territory around mid. Blabber gets pushed out of the jungle here by Inspired, and the tower goes down. Dokla blast cones over as well to make sure they can finish the objective. Good pick from LYON into instant tower take, and the Akali on bottom side constantly keeps up the pressure here. You can dance in and out of the Gwen range, dodge most of anything that's really going to affect you. So, yep, play safe, be very mobile, try and take a cheeky auto on a crystal when the crystal's built up on the tower.
The crust.
The crust.
Yeah.
The gold crust.
If you can knock the tower crust off of the tower, then you're going to get that extra little payday. Makes it worth staying down there, keeping Thanatos locked in the lane where he can't try to join the fights and become the type of raid boss that he was on the Renekton in the previous game. 7 to 8, still very close overall in kills. 2 minutes until our next Drake spawns. Do you think we're going to get a fight for this one? Because it is a Chem Soul, lower value than normal, plus it's only 1 to 2 in the Drake count.
I actually think that we are, because we've got 2 item power spikes for basically everyone by that time. Thanatos probably will have his finished.
Okay.
Or definitely will have his finished. So I think it definitely will be competitive. It depends on the setup here. But C9, there's so much variance between Bard and Poppy ultis. Like, those things could make a fight look completely one-sided. Yeah, heaven or hell. They can be completely one-sided and just look like a giga gap if you get a super crazy Bard ulti and Poppy ult takes like half their team out of the fight or something. So we'll see if those are effective. I would hope for Cloud9 side, though, that they would be able to find a Bard or something ult onto the Ashe or Seraphine early. Because Ashe and Seraphine coming to a team fight with both summoner spells is a completely different monster than if they don't have their flashes. Then they're super vulnerable, and you can actually make a really put a lot of pressure. But Berserker and Isles have done a pretty good job of keeping their summoner spells and being really big threats here, and finding actually picks of their own with their Asher on Seraphine ults.
I mean, Seraphine's pretty much full build, man. He's got his Echoes of Helia plus his Diadem of Songs. Like, this is the support power battery that just constantly keeps the heals and the shields spamming, makes it so difficult. Unless you can just kill her instantly like you're talking about, have some big engage. But LYON have control over the mid lane wave right now. Dokla and Berserker are going to clear out those enemy minions first. 20 seconds until the Drake spawns, and LYON wants to make sure they've got control. They'll use the Hawk Shot just to confirm that C9's not trying to sneak the Baron away. That would be one of the ways to accidentally blunder your position of strength away.
Okay, so they're sending APA to push one more wave on top. Thanatos, unless he actually uses Needlework, I don't think they're going to try and chase him down or anything, but
probably not. Well, there is Needlework being used down here in the bottom lane. Same with the Flash, trying to stay alive, but no! Thanatos gets the pick. Saint falls. LYON at the same time trying to secure the Dragon for themselves. They do have enough time to do so. The Tempered Fate and the True Shot Barrage aren't going to stop that. So a kill for a Drake.
I want to see the beginning of that. I wonder what Vulcan was able to land there, because Vulcan kind of like lane ganked for Thanatos there. They used the heal from Vulcan to get the speed, and Thanatos flash with his Needlework to get the kill. But regardless,
Blabber with the Blast Cone over, trying to make the dive happen here in the Tier 1 turret in mid lane. But Big Dokes has arrived with the Scion. So the turret does go over to C9, but Lion get the kill.
Sion is also immune when he ults in.
Yup.
He is unstoppable. So Dokla ults in right through this Poppy ult, right through Blabber's face. That was a costly error.
Yeah, that's massive. That's the enemy jungler dead for the next 30 seconds. Thanatos is down in the bot lane. He's teleporting back into the fight now, but he doesn't have the needlework ready to go here just yet. Lion are starting up the Baron. C9 coming to stop him. Not a particularly fast Baron here from Lion, as you do see the teleport being channeled from Saint, looking to make his way into the mix. Thanatos in the backside of the Baron pit, just trying to keep Lion distracted. Saint in the middle of everybody, has to dive on the smoke. True Shot Barrage hits Saint and Isles both. Dokla here on the front line, trying to buy some time. Thanatos again, right back into the Baron pit. Massive shockwave coming out from APA. Dokla's gonna die here on the Scion. APA gets the kill credit on that one. C9 wants to clean up more of these kills, and Vulcan with the two-man binding. It's beautiful to pick up 2 more kills and put the money in Sven's pocket.
Oh, that was messy from Lion. We gotta see the replay. That Smite was either very early or he hit a champion with it. But he still ended up getting the Baron. Regardless, they die, a bunch of them die in the aftermath. Remember, Baron it gives like half the amount of gold it used to, so if you give up a bunch of kills, it's not worth anymore. But anyways, they actually stay on the Baron because there's no, Blabber's obviously dead, so there's no smite for Cloud9. But let's take a look at who they actually smite. Good damage from the Ezreal ult and Thanatos. They just say, all right, we finish it. And here comes the smite timing, but he smites like a champion. Yeah, he smites Thanatos. And then he's like, oh, shoot. And he still Qs the Baron. He still gets the Baron as Thanatos is trying to kill Berserker, but it costs them, well, an extra death because of the really nice flash there from Vulcan.
Yeah.
Vulcan, it was just going to be the one, but good flash from Vulcan.
What happened, guys? They don't have a smite.
Well, what happened is they got hit with the Ezreal ult. That was like 300 damage on like 3 different people.
Yep.
And Thanatos was stacking up his Riftmaker and just chewing through the Scion. And so Thanatos and Sven both did a lot of damage there as they chased him into the pit.
And now you can see Sven has the Serpent's Fang completed. There's so much shield value on the enemy team with the Seraphine, with the Scion. You can really get a ton of value out of this item. C9 are up 3,000 gold as a team, and now they're the ones controlling the bot side river. Dokla's got to be a little bit mindful of his positioning here. Nice arrow flies out from Berserker to find its way onto APA while Sven is under pressure from Inspired off on the left side of the fight here at the same time. Thanatos goes golden. Lion trying to get the punish here, but it's Inspired who dies first. C9 are already winning the team fight, and APA with the shockwave completely removes Isles from the rip. Thanatos with the kill credit on Dokla there. Berserker cannot outfight the whole C9 squad, and that is a massive win for C9, 4-0.
Thanatos is dancing on them. Oh my goodness, he dodged everything. He had really good arm guard there from him as well to create the space at Cloud9. They're gonna ride this all the way to the base, Flowers.
They are going straight for the throat. Saint is the only one standing on Lion for the next 15 seconds or so. Sure, you'll have Isles back, but support Seraphine isn't going to be able to stop the C9 War Machine. Inhibitor already destroyed here in the bottom lane, and C9 are pushing straight for the Nexus. Saint tries to jump in, but he doesn't have the damage to kill Sven. The Akali falls. Inspired has finally come back to life. He jumps in after Thanatos, but they still don't have the damage to kill the Gwen. He goes back over to the Honey Fruit, eats those, and C9 are going to exfiltrate the base. Dokla tries to jump in and get something back. Sven gets away from the arrow. Lion is still chasing, and C9 is still getting away. Lion just cannot confirm any of these kills.
Lion have lost all momentum in the entire game. It started with that Baron and ends with C9 destroying their inhibitor and one Nexus tower. Lion now still, like, they're trying to make the play extra long here, chasing them out, but their teleport comes back from Cloud9. They want to turn the tables here in the jungle, Blabber.
Yeah, Lion was thinking about the Dragon Soul, but no, it's not going to happen. Isles already chunked down to 1/3 HP. Blabber's got to be careful just a little bit as Inspired continues diving forward. Saint arrives, LYON still just trying to have any sort of a foothold here in this game. And right as Saint wanted to go in, he immediately gets stopped by Blabber. Meanwhile, we've got the fight back at the base at the same time as Thanatos is on a rampage, just once again tearing through the health bars of LYON. The Gwen just cannot be stopped. Snip, snip, make sure he uses the stasis to get away from the charge of the decimating smash. Shut down from Inspire into Vulcan, but Thanatos is just gonna end the game. GG! C9 take down LYON.
Thanatos is a god. Holy, Cloud9 get their revenge for finals.